Welcome back to another Sunday with Soss. Today is Friday that I'm recording this, and so far this week has been pretty good. There was mainly one day, I want to say maybe 1.5 day where it was kind of rough, but the week has been overall really good. My life is fairly simple, so my days look similar to each other, which can sometimes be tough because I feel like it can get repetitive or nothing new and exciting is happening. One would say maybe boring, but I don't want to say my life is boring. I feel like that's an insult to God and what He's given me. I just think that maybe it's because I'm full-time YouTuber working from home and I'm not home every day a lot. It just can get very monotonous. And things can just feel I know what to expect, I guess, which isn't true because who knows what God has planned each day. But, that feeling tends to kind of try to sneak in. And, in the morning, getting up, you kind of feel it makes it harder to get out of bed. But I'm glad that I'm here and recording another video. So trying to combat that laziness and procrastination and those feelings is obviously an ongoing thing, but just moment by moment, day by day. And recently, I've been reading Old Testament and New Testament, one chapter in each. So I started over in Genesis, like I said in the last video, I think, and I've also been reading the book of John. And today I want to focus more on John because I'm really enjoying this book. It's a really good book. I'm really enjoying it. And the most recent chapters I've read is 13 and 14. So that's what we're going to look at today. I mainly just want to talk about love. God's love and our love for Him, because God is love. Jesus is the epitome of love, the way that He sacrificed for us. And in John, it just a lot of that wisdom from Jesus Himself and everything that He says and teaches us. It's just very comforting. And so there's one verse in chapter 13, at the beginning of chapter 13, actually, it's the first verse. Towards the end, it says, "Having loved His own who were in the world, He loved them to the end." And it's very simple, but very just straight up, those who are in the world. So I'm not sure exactly if that meant, if I had to guess, I think that means everybody. Those who are in the world. So not just the disciples and those who followed Him and those who changed and confessed their life for Him or whatever, but everyone. Those in the world, those still following the ways of the world, sons of disobedience, that type of stuff. And it said He loved them to the end. And it's dang. I don't know, I feel like some verses, some simple statements in the Bible can just be easily just looked over, just kind of fly past that. But it's really deep, dang, He loved us to the end. Even those who didn't love Him, even those who didn't want Him, who wanted to kill Him. He loved all of us, those who are in the world, to the end. I mean, that's why He died and gave up His life for all of us, not just for the people who already knew Him or the disciples or any of that, but the people who didn't even know Him yet, the people like me and you who may have took 20-something years to finally confess their life to Christ, but we did, and now we're here, and He still loves us either way, and has forgiven us. And I just think that's really wonderful and beautiful. And it's just something that, as simple as it is, it's something that we all know as Christians. Yes, we know Jesus. Yes, we know He died for us. Something as simple, not as simple, it's not simple, but as that's the basics of faith, knowing what Jesus did. And as something as simple isn't the word I want, but that's what I'm going to use. Something as simple as that is still very important to like reinforce every day, because I feel like it just fills you with gratitude. It fills you with love for him, and it reminds you of where you came from and who you were before. Like, it just does so much strengthening of your faith, and I feel like it's just profound. It always will be profound. It's all about Jesus. It is all about Jesus. Like in chapter 14, verse 6, Jesus told him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." No one comes to the Father except through me. So it's all about Jesus. There's no getting away through it, around it, shortcut. Jesus. That's it. That's literally it. Jesus is the point. He is the only point, the way. He is the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the way that we are saved. Faith in him, loving him, obeying him. He's the way to living, to being renewed. The truth. He is the truth. I don't fully know how to comprehend that. Jesus is the truth. I feel like it just is what it is. He is the truth. It is true that he did all of these things. I'm not exactly sure how to like analyze that any further, but the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the life, which, I mean, before him, we were dead. We were dead from the beginning. Adam and Eve, spiritually dead. As soon as we sinned, immediately dead from then on out. And so without Jesus, we were dead. And he brought us back to life. He literally brought us back to life. He resurrected us just as he did. He overcame death and gave us the ability to be redeemed and renewed and made new. Like in Ephesians, we're said to put off our old selves and put on our new selves. It's like we have this old body, this old being that is dead, the old us that was dead, and now we're new and renewed in this new person, in this new body, with this new heart, new spirit, and somebody else entirely. I mean, I think I'm the same person as I was, in a sense, like my personality or like my sense of humor, I guess, stuff like that. But and then I'm also not the same person. I'm just not. And I think I still have more to go. Obviously, I'm not fully complete. But I wouldn't say I'm the same me as I've been for 20 something years. So it's all about Jesus, and Jesus is love. That's all he tells us to do. Like, that's not all he tells us to do, but that's like the main thing. I mean, chapter 13, verse 34, "I give you a new command. Love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another." I mean, the love Jesus showed for us is that kind of love is seen nowhere else. I mean, his love is so pure and perfect and completely selfless. Like, you can love someone so much, like us as humans, but I don't know if there's anyone in the entire world who could ever really truly love out of their own like volition, not without the help of God or the Spirit or anything, just out of their own, just being a good person, love completely and truly selflessly, with no ulterior motive, with no getting something in return, like just pure, just I love you so much and that's it. Like, I don't think that, I mean, that's the whole point of Jesus, because he's the only one, he was the perfect man. So the fact that through him we can learn and try to love that way, he encourages us, he helps us to love that way. It's like, yeah, I know this is pretty hard to do, because Jesus is a hard example to live up to, but he's there to help us, to help carry that burden, lessen our load. I can't remember exactly the verse, but it's about Jesus saying, I'll take up the yoke, or he'll pick up the burden. I can't exactly remember, but I'll put it on screen as I'm editing this video. But he offers to help us because he knows it's not easy. He's been down here himself and went through what we go through, temptation and the people hating us or being mean or all types of stuff that we may go through. He's been there and he's willing to help us and guide us and give us ways to overcome and to keep fighting. I mean, in chapter 14, when he's talking to the disciples and he's like, he knows what's about to happen. He's about to be crucified and stuff. And he's talking with them. He says, chapter 14 and verse 16, and I will ask the Father, and he will give you another counselor to be with you forever. He is the Spirit of truth. The world is unable to receive him because it doesn't see him or know him, but you do know him because he remains with you and will be in you. He literally gifted us. Like, I know you're going to need this. I know you're going to need help. Here's something that will help you tremendously and it will be with you. He said forever. That's insane to like imagine, like forever. You have this Holy Spirit, like straight from God himself inside of us, inside of this broken, fallen body, inside of the sinner who did all this bad things up until a point where now I'm forgiven, but you still gifted me this spirit to like just counsel me and to be with me on top of the counsel I get from God and Jesus and his word and prayer and church and pastors and community and all of that stuff. We also get this counselor to be with us forever inside of us. I mean, that's just like, there's so many things to be grateful to God for. There's so many things in the Bible of gifts and blessings that he gives us and that we have and treasures in heaven and all of that. But just this one thing is just so, I mean, profound to me, so amazing. Like, and it's just one out of many. And I just think that sometimes faith can just be as simple as gratitude, because when you're really grateful to somebody for something they did for you, it makes it easier to do anything for them. And that's the whole point of being, well, one of the whole points of being a Christian, I should say, is obeying God and what he tells you to do. And that can be a very hard thing, but when you're grateful for things that he's done for you, these great, amazing things, it makes it so much easier to do the things that are hard to do that he tells you to do, because you just want to like try to repay him for everything that he's done and try to give back and try to show him how much you love him, all this stuff. And I just think it all comes back to like gratitude, like at the core of it, because without what he's done, without him and his love for us, where would we be? Who would we be? I don't even want to imagine a world where God just gave up and was like, well, they don't want to listen, so I tried. Like, that's terrifying. And I'm so glad he didn't do that. So yeah, John is a really great book. And Jesus is it's just an amazing role model. And like, even in this chapter, when he was getting ready to be crucified, he knew what was coming. He knew he was about to be betrayed, all of that stuff. He's still like teaching the disciples and like caring for them and completely selfless and being there for them when he's the one who's about to grow through it. Like in this is still chapter 14, verse 29. I have told you now before it happens, so that when it does happen, you may believe. So he's telling them, he's like preparing them for the future. Like, I'm gonna leave, you can't follow me, I'm going somewhere, I'm going to be with the Father, all of this stuff. And he's like, I'm telling you this now so that when it does happen, you'll believe that I am the one, I am the Son, I am who I say I am. And it's like, even when all of this stuff is about to happen, he's still taking the time to teach them and to guide them and to inform them and to care for them and in their faith, telling them things that help them believe. Like, it's just like so selfless. Like, he's just like, wow. Like, if I knew what was going to happen to me that was horrible, like, compared to that, like, going to be nailed to a cross, I'd be like somewhere crying in the corner, not trying to talk to somebody else and lift them up and encourage them. Like, it's just beautiful. It really is. And we are called to be like him, which is very daunting. It really is, but not impossible. Not impossible, because with man it's impossible. With God, nothing is impossible. You know, you just have to remember that and trust and pray that he continues to work in us. He changes us. He does it. It's not anything that we do, it's him, and we have to just trust in that. And another thing I just love about Jesus, it's not as if he's just telling us. He's not just sitting down pointing, you do this, you do that, you go over there, and he's just chilling, laying like on the throne, sitting on the throne, just like chilling. Like, he actually, everything he tells us to do, he has done or does actively. Like, in the end of chapter 14, verse 31, on the contrary, so that the world may know that I love the Father, I do as the Father commanded me. So he's like, I remember another verse where he's like, if you love me, obey my commands. And he's right here, he's obeying the Father. He loves the Father and is obeying the Father's command. So he's not just telling us, obey me and do what I say, but he's actively obeying himself as well. Like, the Father telling him to do this horrific thing, and he's just going through with it, completely selflessly, completely obedient out of his love for the Father. And that's just one example of something that Jesus himself went through and did that he also calls us to do. So there's no excuse. There's no real excuse. He leaves the perfect example for us to follow. And with the help of his Spirit and with God, we try our best every day to do that and to live by his word, follow his commandments, and show that we love him. And man, sometimes it's hard for me to imagine myself as Jesus-like. But there's a lot of things I can't imagine. Like, I can't even imagine what God looks like, but it's not for me to know yet. He just shows us who he is. Through his word, he tells us of his character and who he is. And we get to know him, we grow close with him, and we just trust in him because we know him. So, yeah, is that everything? Maybe one more thing that I'm just seeing as I look in chapter 14, verse 23. Jesus answered, if anyone loves me, he will keep my word. My Father will love him, and we will come to him and make our home with him. Which was another mind-blowing thing to me as I was reading. Like, Jesus is saying that me and the Father and the Spirit, all three of us, we will come to him being anybody who loves me and keeps my word, and make our home with him, which is so personal, so intimate. The God, creator of the universe, is coming to me, the sinner, this person who can't listen, who can't obey, who been doing whatever I wanted for all this time, wants to come to me and make a home with me, which is so like, dude, like, just going back to what I said earlier, just being grateful, like, wow, just complete reverence for him and being so merciful and gracious to us, like things that he doesn't have to do. He made us, he made the world. He don't have to want to be with us or to love us. You don't have to do anything. But the fact that he chose us, that he wants to be with us, that he invites us to be with him, is just like, a home. That's like so personal. It's so beautiful. Like, I just really enjoy this book. I encourage you to read this book if you haven't read the book of John. And that verse just makes me think of another book, Ephesians, another great book, where it talks about a dwelling place for God in us, a dwelling place to live like a home. Like it just, like I feel like I'm freaking out saying it because it's just crazy. Like the creator of the universe wants to dwell with me, inside of me. I mean, I don't know, dude. We just have so much to be grateful for. And I think that it's a great way to pull yourself back, a great tool to use anytime if you feel doubtful or you're going through a tough time, anything that you may be struggling with or maybe separating you from God, just coming back to gratitude and thinking about what he's done, who he is. It just like it realigns you. It's like an equilibrium, because how can you not feel immense gratefulness for all of this that we have? Even in the toughest of times when you may have seemingly nothing, we have God, and we have his grace and his mercy, his love. So I think that's all I got for y'all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you found some value within it. I hope you felt moved by his word today, feel closer with him. I pray all of those things. I pray that you feel closer to him. I pray that you seek him in times of trouble, and even when there is no trouble and everything's fine, I pray that you seek him and dwell with him and spend time with him and get to know him more, because he knows you very, very well and he wants to be with you. And I pray all of this in Jesus' perfect, beautiful name. Amen. So that's all I got for y'all. Hope y'all enjoyed. Appreciate y'all for watching. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one. Peace. Wow, that was so easy. I always have so much like built up, like almost anxiety, like, the weekend coming, I gotta do these videos, because I just don't be knowing what to say. I be worried about what to say. And then I come to sit down and do videos like this where I just say, and it's just like, praise the Lord.